Hi there. In this video, we will continue our discussion about systems documentation techniques. If you remember in the previous video, I talked about two techniques that we can use them in documentation. The first one is the data process diagram, and the second one, flowcharts. And we showed how to make the flowchart either on Microsoft Word or on Lucid chart. But in this video, I will talk about the third type of diagram that we can make it. We call it business process diagram. And the symbols we are going to use in business process diagram, it's almost the opposite way that we use it in data flow diagram. So if you remember in data flow diagram, we used to have the circle for the process of the data. But in business process diagram, the circle refers to the beginning and the ending. The beginning of the process. The ending, we make it as a circle, but it's a bolded circle. So this is quite the opposite way that we made it in the data flow diagram. On the other hand, we use the rectangle as beginning and ending of data flow diagram, but here we use the rounded edge rectangle for the process of the business process diagram. And then we here present the diamond shape or the rhombus shape as making decision. And then we use the arrow for the data flow, which is similar to the data flow diagram. And finally, the dotted arrow, we use it for annotation. So when we design the business process diagram, we need to be aware only of those symbols. And this can tell you that the symbols are used here are quite less than what we used in flowcharts. Now, I'm going to show you here in the rest of the video some examples on developing business process diagram. What do we mean by process diagram? Here we show you the steps of the process from the beginning to the end. I don't talk about data, I don't talk about documentation, but I talk about processing the transactions up to the end. So for example, a good process that we need to be aware of is the recruitment of a new employee. What is the process we use it when we recruit a new person? First, the new person has to fill out an application, which we call it new employee form. So here, the beginning of the new employee process, completing his or her application, and then it goes to the HR. The HR will start their process by completing all the change form and including the new employee into their system. Then it goes to the payroll when we start making the payment for that employee by the end of the week or end of the month. We start by receiving the time card of the employee, then prepare the employee paycheck and payroll summary. Then we prepare the payroll register and the tax report and update the file of the employee. And here we show the bolded circle as the end of the process at the payroll department. And then it goes to the accounts payable where we pay the check to the employees and the tax check for the state and federal government. And then the treasurer will take the checks and give it to the employees. So here the treasurer will sign, approve the paychecks, disperse the checks, and then forward the cash disbursement voucher. And then the accountant will make the recording in journal, ledger, trial balance. And this is a good example that has been mentioned in the textbook that shows you the steps or the processes we use it in recruiting a new employee. Now, let us look at another exercise. It's a bit long, so you can stop the video here, read the exercise, and let us go through the steps together. Here we talk about also the business process diagram, and the employee here, they enter their tickets, and at the head office, they start making different steps where we make the job time ticket and then create the database and then make the payment to the employee and the government, summary of the payroll, and then the payroll supervisor review all the reports, and then we make the payroll data online. So we can use this same example for data flow diagram and business process diagram. But here I'm going to show you the business process diagram for that example. So here at the job site, and if you go back to the beginning or the scenario of this exercise, it will show you that each job site, they have one of two options. Either they make the job time on paper, or they make it online, and then they send an email by the end of the week to the head office. And the head office, whether they receive the time tickets on sheets or online, they start the processing the job time ticket, update the payroll, disperse the fund, and then create and send summary payroll report. Then it goes to the payroll department where they review the payroll summary report. And then it goes to the employee where we make the payment, and this will show the end of the cycle. Another exercise here also, it talks about a different company. The exercise is a bit long, so feel free to stop the video and read the exercise. And here it will show you the steps. The treasurer receives the cash and remittance advice, and then the clerk receives the cash from the treasurer to deposit in the bank. The accounts receivable department receives the remittance advice and update the accounts receivable. And then Scott and Susan, they review the cash receipt. The credit and collection department review the trial balance of the accounts receivable. And here you can see the steps. So we start by the treasurer, receive the cash from the customer, along with the remittance advice and the check, and start preparing the deposit slip. Once the treasurer ends his work, then the clerk starts depositing the cash in the bank, and then the accounts receivable update the accounts receivable account. And here we can see the end, but also the accounts receivable start a new process every week, which is generating the cash receipt report and aged trial balance, which goes to the accounts receivable here. The Scott and Susan, the management, they review the cash report, review the aged trial balance, and this would be the end of the process. So from here, we can say that the business process diagram, along with the data flow diagram and the flow chart, they make a combination of system documentation, which we can use it in our daily life to describe or depict the system. I hope you find these short videos are useful, and please go back to them and review the exercises because they will help you in that chapter to answer the assignment and the quiz, and it will help you to make the lucid chart on the application. If you need any help, feel free to reach out by email, and I would be more than happy to help you. Wish you an enjoyable and successful week. Thank you. Bye-bye.